Now it is festive season, a time to relax, to travel, and to have quality time with friends and family. But what about your garden? Leaving it a few days unattended can result into pest invasion and possibly loss of a harvest. In today's video, we will be sharing some tips on things you can do to ensure that your garden remains productive and healthy while you are away. So all of that is coming up. Now, watering is a very important aspect to maintain a proper and a healthy garden. So while you're away, it's important to make sure that your plants remain hydrated. So here are some things that you can actually do to ensure that your plants remain hydrated. Firstly is to install an automated irrigation system with a timer that can ensure that while you're away, you can set times when your garden can be watered. This will ensure that your garden remain well hydrated. I found that the timer that I installed last year helped my garden stay hydrated and was able to keep my garden alive while I was away. But if you are not in a position to install an automated irrigation system with a timer, you can probably ask a friend, family, garden buddy, just to make sure that they come in specific times to ensure that your garden remains well taken care of. This will just ensure that all the hard work that you've been putting in over the months do not go to waste. You can then ensure that you come back to a healthy and a productive garden. Now, placing mulch also in your garden can definitely also keep your plants hydrated, because if you use mulch like compost or straws or old leaves, that will ensure that your plants, that your soil retain the soil during the very hot days. So mulching is also another way that you can also ensure that your plants remain moist and hydrated. Now, the second issue that you need to manage is pest and disease. Unfortunately, pests do not go on holiday. So it's very important that before you go, make sure that you inspect your plants, look out for behind the leaves for any possible threats to your garden, and make sure that you deal with the matter before you go. The last thing that you want is to leave and come and find your plants infected with disease or with some pests. So it's important to just go around, inspect your plants, and make sure that you deal with pests. There are a number of organic ways to actually deal with pests, but I believe that using companion planting is one of the best ways that you can actually mitigate against pests. But it's important to, even if you're gonna get a garden buddy or somebody to look after your plants, to maybe leave them also a checklist so that they can know what they should be looking out for. But make sure that you remove all possible leaves that might be infested and deal with the matter before you go on holiday. Now, pruning and weeding is another important aspect that you need to deal with before you go away, especially plants like tomatoes, cucumbers, and squash plants. It's important to check on them and prune away some of the dead leaves. And since some of these plants are spiraling plants, it's important to make sure that you prune some of the vines that might be venturing into other beds. So I have a couple of squash plants in my garden that is currently growing outside the growing area. I will just make sure that I prune that a little back. When it comes to my tomatoes, I will also make sure that I prune old leaves and the bottom part, just to make sure that my garden is well maintained. Now, weeds are also a problem because it just creates competition for your plants for nutrients. So it's important to make sure that you remove any weed from your garden. When it comes to my no-dig garden, I will just make sure that I actually dig out some of the grass that is currently invading some of my beds, and also ensure that I place some cardboard just to make sure that weeds do not take over my garden while I'm on holiday. Make sure that you prune, and also make sure that you weed out all the competition out of your garden. Another aspect that also is very important is to make sure that your garden is secure. Make sure if you need to lock gates, make sure that you do that. In my case, I will just be placing some chicken wire over my beds. Some of the challenges that I normally get, threats for my garden, in my garden, are cats that normally come and dig out some stuff. So I found that placing some chicken wire over some spots just reduce the cats from actually destroying my plants. But it's important that you need to assess your situation to identify possible threats and actually deal with them before you go away. And the last part is definitely to make sure that you harvest crops that are ripe or near ripening. So I have zucchini here that I have been waiting for it to turn yellow. But since I will be away for a couple of weeks, I will definitely start to harvest the zucchini. I'm quite impressed with the growth. And I also have some tomatoes that I will be harvesting on this side. Yeah. And I was actually divided. I was not sure what to do with the tomatoes here in my jungle garden, but I see some beautiful tomatoes that have developed here. So although they are green, I will just take the risk, harvest them, and probably ripen them inside, as well as some of the bell peppers that I have on the other side. But the risk of leaving things unattended, or it could just attract some pests to come and destroy your harvest. It could also lead to disease. So I just want to make sure that I can harvest some of these. Obviously, if you have an abundance, you can always share the harvest with family. You can take it with you to share with your family where you're going, or you can freeze your leafy greens if you have in abundance. But I think by ensuring that you do the following task will just ensure that you protect the work that you have put in over the past months and not lose them after your holiday. But as we come to the end of the year, I would like to take this opportunity just to thank you so much for your support throughout the year, your comments, and just liking and watching the videos. Really is much appreciated. Therefore, I would like to wish you a Merry Christmas, a happy festive season, and a happy new year. So I'm looking forward to see you next year. But keep strong, keep safe, and I'm looking forward to see you in future videos. Thank you so much. Keep on sowing and growing. Peace.